AI's biggest opportunity may no longer be building AI, it may be managing AI. A story that almost nobody noticed recently made me think the industry could be entering a new phase. A company called Aembit announced an integration with Microsoft Copilot Studio. On the surface, it looks like a normal product launch, but the signal behind it may reveal where AI is headed next. Hey everyone, I'm Nolan. Over the past 2 years, the most important goal in AI has been making AI smarter. But as more companies begin deploying AI across their businesses, I think the market is entering a new stage. And in this stage, the biggest challenge may no longer be how to build AI, it may be how to manage it. Over the past few years, the focus of the AI conversation has been pretty clear. Whether it was ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, the market mainly cared about which model was smarter, which one was more capable, and which one could handle more complex tasks. That's because in the early stages of AI, the biggest challenge was simply making AI more powerful. But as the technology continues to improve, more businesses are starting to use AI in real-world workflows. AI is helping employees organize customer information, search internal databases, manage business processes, and even handle tasks that previously required human workers. In other words, AI is moving beyond showing what it can do and starting to create real business value. And while that may sound like a small shift, the impact behind it could be much bigger than most people realize. And I think that's the most important part of this story. When AI is only answering questions, companies mainly care about how smart it is and how accurate the answers are. But once AI starts participating in real work, the questions begin to change. Because for businesses, having a powerful AI is important, but having an AI that can be properly managed may be even more important. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine a company deploying dozens or even hundreds of AI agents. These AI systems aren't just answering employee questions. They're searching documents, accessing customer information, updating records, and completing parts of everyday workflows. That sounds incredibly efficient, but it also creates a new challenge. If AI has access to company systems and company data, how do businesses make sure it's operating within the right boundaries? How do they know what information it accessed, what actions it took, and how decisions were made when something goes wrong? These are questions most companies rarely had to think about before, because in the past, businesses mainly managed people. In the future, they may need to manage both people and AI. And I think this is something many investors still haven't fully realized. For the last few years, the conversation has been about how to build AI. But as more companies begin using AI in real-world operations, a new demand is starting to emerge. Businesses don't just need AI that works, they need AI that can be managed. And those are two very different markets. We've actually seen this pattern many times throughout the history of technology. Almost every major technology revolution goes through the same process. The first phase is figuring out whether the technology works. The second phase is figuring out how to manage it. When the internet first emerged, the focus was on building the internet. As more users came online, businesses realized that simply having internet access wasn't enough. They needed cybersecurity, identity management, and systems to control access to data. That's how the cybersecurity industry became a major market. Cloud computing followed a similar path. At first, the focus was on building cloud platforms, but as companies moved more operations into the cloud, the conversation shifted toward managing cloud resources and securing them. Today, AI may be going through the same transition. For the past few years, the biggest opportunities came from building AI. But as more companies deploy AI, a new challenge is beginning to emerge. How do you manage all of it? And whenever a new problem appears, a new market usually follows. Every technological shift creates new demands, and the companies that solve those demands often become the next big winners. That's why I think this Aembit announcement is worth paying attention to. Not because of the company itself, but because it highlights a new demand that's starting to appear across the industry. As AI becomes more deeply integrated into businesses, companies will increasingly care about things they've never had to worry about before. What data can AI access? What actions can it perform? Is it operating within company policies? Because if businesses can't keep AI under control, they won't feel comfortable letting AI handle critical operations. The more important AI becomes inside an organization, the more important these management tools become. In fact, an entirely new category is already starting to emerge. Some people call it agent security. Others call it AI identity or AI access management. The names may be different, but they're all trying to solve the same problem. How do you make sure AI remains secure, controllable, and compliant while becoming more powerful? If a company eventually has dozens or even hundreds of AI agents, managing those agents could become a job of its own. And when enough businesses face the same challenge, a new market usually begins to form. In the past, companies managed employees. In the future, they may also need to manage AI, and that could be the foundation of an entirely new industry. So I don't think the most important part of this story is Aembit. I think it's the shift that this story represents. As more AI systems enter the workplace, the questions the market cares about are starting to change. When AI was just a chatbot, many of these concerns didn't exist. But once AI starts accessing company data, participating in operations, and taking on real responsibilities, identity management, permissions, and activity tracking become essential. And as more companies deploy AI agents, these features may move from optional tools to basic requirements. Because businesses don't just need AI that can work, they need AI that can be managed. And wherever new demands emerge, new opportunities usually follow. When you put it all together, a bigger trend starts to emerge. For the past 2 years, AI has been about building smarter models. But as AI begins doing real work, the focus may start to shift. Businesses may not need smarter AI most. They may need AI they can control. In the past, companies managed employees. Soon, they may need to manage AI too. What do you think? Let me know below. I'm Nolan. See you next time.